Kerrigan with Leslie Kerrigan Photography. I'm a senior portrait photographer in Greenville, South Carolina, but to be honest, I'll go anywhere and take your senior photos if you want your senior photos taken. I love to take senior photos. And today I am talking to you about one of the most common questions I get asked, which is, what season is best for senior photos? To be honest, there is no one season fits all, and it really depends on you and what you love the most. So ask yourself a couple of questions. What season do you love the most? What type of weather do you like the most? What type of clothing do you like to wear the most? And what is your schedule like? When are you busy and when are you not so busy? Those things are all things to consider when trying to decide what time frame works best for your senior photos. In addition to that, there are pros and cons of each season, and I'm going to go through every single one of them to help you determine when you should book your senior photos. So let's start with fall because it's currently fall. Fall season for senior photos is really between October and early December. We live in the South and it stays warm for a very long time, so we don't tend to see a lot of the fall colors, leaves, etc. until probably October. So if you are envisioning those rich colors of fall, fall weather, things like that, I would say consider October, November, and even early December for a fall senior session. Another reason fall is really good is because it allows you to wear layers when it comes to clothing. And when you wear layers in photos, it gives you variety because you can start with an outfit that is a top and jeans with a jacket or a coat and a scarf, maybe even a hat, and then you can take the hat off or take the hat and the jacket off, take the scarf off, and then you're left with the top and the jeans, which is like a whole nother outfit without actually having to change clothes. So that's a really good thing about the fall. It's also really good because the background in fall tends to give you lots of dimension in your photos because there's so many different colors when it comes to fall background. So rich reds and greens and oranges and yellows. It's a wide variety of colors that would be in your background, which gives your photos dimension and variety that sometimes other seasons don't give you because other seasons might just be one color in the background. So that's something to consider as well. Fall is really great because it's still warm outside, so you don't have to worry about being cold on your senior session. And again, it just is a great time to have your photos taken because, to be honest, you're super excited about being a senior. You've just started your senior year, so it's a really, really good time for senior photos. There is the time change that would have to be considered. So the later in fall we get, the earlier it gets dark. So we would just need to consider that when determining when to start your senior session. That doesn't tend to be a super big problem though for seniors because you guys all tend to get out of school about 12:30. So we'd probably start senior sessions in the fall around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which should give us plenty of time before it gets dark, usually around 5. So the pros and cons of the fall. Let's talk about the pros. The pros are that it is beautiful, rich colors for backgrounds. Reds, greens, oranges, yellows provide the beautiful backdrop. Another pro is that you can wear layers, which provide variety in your photos. So that's a really good thing. And it's still warm outside, so that's always a pro because nobody really wants to be cold on their senior photos. Another pro is you can check it off of your to-do list. You don't have to worry about it. It's done. You have amazing photos and you can go to the next thing on your senior to-do list. The cons of fall would be that it does get darker earlier, so we would have to start the session earlier. But again, that doesn't really pose a problem because seniors tend to get out of school really early. And then the other one would be if you play a fall sport or other things happening in the fall for you, it could be a busy time of year. But again, I don't tend to think fall is quite as busy as spring, especially for seniors because there's a lot going on in the spring. So that could be a con, but most often it works really well for seniors. That takes us to winter. I think winter sometimes is a forgotten season for senior sessions. People don't tend to think you can even have your photos taken in the winter, but I actually think it works really well for two reasons. Number one, we're in South Carolina and winter is never really that cold. And two, if you're someone who really likes the look of an urban session, meaning buildings in the background, alleys, super cool walls, things of that sort, that can work really well in the winter because nobody would even know that it's winter. It's not like you're in a field where you can tell that the trees are dead, but instead you're in front of buildings where it doesn't matter what season it is because buildings all look the same. Another thing about winter is your schedule tends to be a little less busy. My schedule tends to be a little less busy, so there's more availability in the winter. And if you're somebody who really loves, you know, coats and jackets and things, big sweaters, things like that, winter could be perfect for you. And if you're somebody who likes snow, I know it doesn't really snow a whole lot in South Carolina, but I'm always up for a destination senior session. So if you want to go somewhere where there's mountains, snow, cold weather, I'm totally down. So let's go back over the pros and cons of winter for a possible senior session. The pros are there's more availability. Your schedule and my schedule are a little more open. You can wear cool winter coats and all the fun winter sweaters and things of that sort. And if you're somebody that really looks for urban session, it is perfect for winter because buildings all look the same, so it doesn't matter what season you're in, so you might as well do it in the winter. And you can cross it off your to-do list. The cons of winter is that, yeah, it could be a little cold, but again, it's South Carolina, so it's probably not going to be that cold. And there's definitely ways to work around a little bit of cold. We can hop in a coffee shop and get warm really quick and then go back out and shoot more. And then the other con is that it does tend to get a little darker earlier. So we would have to start the session a little bit earlier in the day. Okay, so that brings us to spring. Spring senior sessions typically happen between March and all the way through May, and it happens to be the busiest time of year for senior sessions. It's also busy for seniors in general. So my schedule's super booked in the spring, and your schedule tends to be pretty booked in spring because you have a lot of activities going on, such as spring break, prom, and graduation. But spring can be great because of the weather, but it also can be bad because of the weather. It's so unpredictable in spring, so it could be really warm or it could be cold and rainy. So therefore, spring tends to be the most common season for reschedule. So if you do book your session in the spring, just be prepared that it may be one of those things where we have to reschedule. So if we do get a really good day and the weather is pretty, then spring is perfect because flowers are blooming and the trees are green, the grass is green, so it can be a wonderful backdrop for your senior photos. It's also a great time if the weather's warm that you can wear things like sundresses, tank tops, white jeans. So if you're somebody who loves those types of clothing, spring is perfect for you. It is also really good if you schedule your spring session after spring break, because if you go somewhere super cool and exotic and warm, you come back with a tan. And I know a lot of seniors out there love to have a tan for their senior session. Another really good thing is prom is happening. So if you schedule your senior session after prom, you can recycle that prom dress and wear that as one of your outfits for your senior session. So there's lots of good and great reasons to choose spring, but let's go over the pros and the cons just to recap. So the pros of spring are if we get a really good day, the weather is beautiful, so that provides beautiful flowers and green grass as your backdrop. Another pro is that you may have a tan because you came back from spring break. You may be able to wear your prom dress because if your spring session is scheduled after prom, that's a great outfit choice. And if you're somebody who loves to wear sundresses and things of that nature, then spring is perfect for you. The cons are also the weather. The weather is good and bad, but the weather can be unpredictable, so be prepared for reschedules. It rains a lot in spring, so just be prepared that we may have to reschedule. We'll always get your photo session in before you graduate, I promise, but we may have to reschedule. I have had to reschedule one girl's several different times because every single time she had her scheduled at rain, but we did finally get it done, and we got it done in time, so there's no worry there. Also, a con could be that you're super busy. You have a lot going on in the spring. Graduation is coming up, and there's a lot of things on your to-do list. So just be mindful of that when it comes to scheduling a spring senior session. Now, the last season is summer, and I started this with fall because that's what season we're in, but summer is actually the first season where you're officially a senior. So you can schedule your session as soon as you become a senior. As soon as that class before you has graduated, you can schedule your senior session. So June all the way through September is what I typically think of when it comes to summer. The great thing about summer is the days are long. We have lots of light out. We have beautiful sunsets in the summer. So you can just, envision a senior session in a field with a beautiful sunset, a beautiful sundress, and that is a perfect reason to choose summer. The weather's warm, so that's a really great reason to choose summer. You're excited about being a senior, and you can get that senior session done and crossed off that to-do list. So the only things I would say are bad about summer are, again, the weather, because it can be really hot. But one thing is, you can, if you schedule it in September, that's really considered summer. However, you can really wear a summer outfit and then wear a transitional outfit and then even really wear a fall outfit and give yourself variety. So if you're somebody who loves sundresses, tank tops and shorts, but maybe you also love jeans and a sweater, you can really do both of those in a summer senior session because we can be really quick when you're in your more fall outfit so you don't sweat to death, but that way you get variety and you can wear both. So to recap summer, the reason summer is really good is you're super excited because you just started officially as a senior. Another really good pro is that it's warm outside and that the days are super long, so we get beautiful sunsets, and that can be a really good pro for choosing summer as your senior session time frame. The con could be that it's super hot outside, but we can really work around that. And honestly, with hair and makeup that we do, they do airbrush, which tends to last through lots of sweating, so nobody would ever know that you're super hot. And then the other con is, that maybe you aren't quite feeling like a senior yet because school hasn't started, so that might be a con for you. No matter what senior season you choose for your senior session, really need to consider what you love the most, and then also consider what you want to use the photos for. Are you trying to get a photo for an ad in the back of the yearbook? Because if so, those deadlines tend to be in the fall, so a summer or early fall senior session would be perfect for you, so get those photos back and use them in your ad. If you're somebody that's using these photos for graduation announcements, that's definitely something you can wait on and do, say winter or spring, because the turnaround time for graduation announcements is super fast. So that can be done later in the year. However, I would remind you guys to make sure that if you're doing an actual invitation to something, to really have that date of when you need to send out those invitations, and make sure if you're doing a spring session, you have booked your session early enough to get the photos back, to get the invitations out in the mail weeks before the actual event happens. So those are all things to consider when trying to determine what senior season is best for you. And if you need any more help when it comes to choosing the perfect season for your senior session, you can call me, email me, text me, whatever, and I'm happy to discuss it even further and help you decide when your best season is for your senior sessions. If you're a senior out there and you're looking for a senior photographer, let me know. I'd love to take your photos. If you're not quite yet a senior, be sure to watch this video and others that I'm going to be posting, so that when you are a senior, you're fully educated and you know all of the details you need to know when it comes to a senior session. So thanks for watching. There will definitely be more videos posted, so maybe subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can learn all the tips and tricks when it comes to senior photos. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye guys.